Thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
This is the Mitches podcast, and today I have Derek Kalala.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. This is a really cool setup you have here. I love the lighting, the microphones. It's all very top notch.
Thank you. It was a lot to put it together, so I am traumatized by it, but also proud of it.
Nice. Those are always the most accomplished feelings, the ones that you have to kind of fight to get through.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, what's on your mind?
So I'm just trying to think. Did I meet you when I did Parkdale Comedy the first time, or did I meet you at the lab?
I think we met at Parkdale Comedy, like back when Aiden and I ran it, like last year sometime.
Is Aiden not involved anymore?
No. So Aiden's been on the Morning Wood tour for like a year now. So he departed kind of in like December-ish when they really kind of started kicking off, and then G jumped on board in January, and so it's been me and G in 2024 this year.
And what's G's last name?
Gathika.
Yeah. Okay.
I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
I want to say it another way, but
Gachero,
I think it's like
Gachero. I was way off. I'm pretty sure it's Gachero.
Okay.
Now I'm genuinely confused.
He lives at your house, right?
I know, he does.
Okay.
I see him every day.
He's new to Toronto.
Yeah.
And he's from my hometown, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you guys know each other when you were in London? No.
And we haven't done that thing where you go like, you name all your friends. I think he's younger than me.
Do you have any, what's it called? Similarities? No, mutuals on social?
No, just like comedy people.
That's usually a good indicator of if there's overlap.
I never thought of socials because that's how old I am.
Yeah, socials. I mean, maybe Facebook then.
Actually, I should add him on Facebook. That's
Facebook's
where
you
the
might
overlap.
Find most of the overlap.
A lot of stereotypes about Facebook moms are actually true of me.
I don't know, every time I go on Facebook, I find it a very, very odd place. But surprisingly, a lot of people use it for promotion, right? Like I find, like every now and then I'll go on like the the Toronto stand-up group or something. I'm like, oh, there's a lot of activity here, and people post stuff on Facebook. But
yeah,
I'm not really a Facebook guy myself at all.
I do, and I did start using it more promotionally.
Yeah.
At first I was like, no, I'll just do Instagram and then TikTok, because those are, to me, the promotion ones. TikTok, but it is, there's lots of people just using Facebook.
Yeah, 100%.
So, it's very...
Well, like, especially the older generation, right? Like, I know for Parkdale Comedy, we'll usually post in the Parkdale Community Updates group, and we've had a couple of people come out from that, but it's always so hard to gauge where you're getting traction from when it comes to promotion. Like, I wish people would come in and be like, hey, we saw your post on this, so I could be like, okay, like, this promotion's working, that promotion's not, because a lot of times I feel like I'm just throwing money into it and being like, hope people come.
Yeah, it's really hard. Do you hate the promotion part of it?
I don't hate it, but I don't enjoy it. We actually don't do a ton of promotion outside of just like Instagram posts. We've been lucky with Parkdale Comedy the past couple of months. It's like gained a little bit of traction. So we have people consistently coming out, and people are like, oh, like we missed last week, we'll come next week. But there's definitely some days where I walk in and it's like 8:15, and I'm like, it's gonna be me and the comics tonight. We're gonna have to bring the energy ourselves. But we're on like a pretty hot streak right now of about like 8 to 10 weeks of just consistently good shows. So
nice.
It's been fun, yeah.
I started hosting a weekly open mic with Burhan. We're hosting on Sundays at this bar called Teddy Beer. Mm-hmm. It's like Bloor and Ossington. And I think like last week we had like 3 audience, just because like this girl I know showed up with 2 of her friends.
Nice.
So then we're like, we need to get audience in like regularly.
It's tough.
So we set it up as a free event on Eventbrite.
That's that's a start, right? But then it's also, I don't know how much promotion you get off of Eventbrite, right? Like, I don't think like if someone's looking, what you should do is if you want to just like post it as like a free event, use the Facebook groups. I know when I was doing Queen Street Hooligan. And,
Oh yeah, like the mics only and spots only.
Yeah, exactly right. Like no. What's it called? Like free attraction, different stuff like that, right? Like there's a lot of Facebook groups that are like geared towards people looking for like Toronto night events, Toronto events, free attractions in Toronto.
Yeah.
It's probably like 8 or 10.
Yeah, especially because it's a free event.
Yeah.
Because I like that idea.
But I do warn you, people will buy a bunch of tickets and then just not show up because it's a free event. So
honestly, with an open mic, like it's cool just to get like 3 to 5 people, like just so some people there aren't comics.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it gives you some kind of barometer of like whether your jokes are actually funny.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times if it's like a room full of comics, it's just like everyone's like waiting to go up, like checking their jokes. You're not really getting a genuine response at all to your jokes, which can be a little bit frustrating, of course. For
sure. How long have you been at it?
I think I did my first set in like 2017, so just about 7 years. But I didn't do it from like 2019 to about 2022. So like there was like a solid 4-year stretch where I just wasn't on stage.
But you saw the before times.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
With like the foot drama.
Yeah, there's yeah. I saw both sides of the pandemic. The pandemic really shifted the landscape. But yeah, it's very different than it was before. There's a lot more comics I find now, and there's a lot more venues. I was talking to somebody the other night, and I was like, man, instead of having 7 mics at the same time in like 5 different places in the city, there should just be like 1 or 2 mics like in the East End or West End, you know what I mean? Like where everyone can go to the same venue, because you end up just like splitting the market, and it's like, okay, like no one's here, 5 people are there, 2 people are here, when like it makes more sense for everyone to be at one location.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, but everyone wants to run a mic, right? Because like, you know, like hosting a mic obviously helps you become a better comic, but
yeah,
there's definitely a little bit of oversaturation, but that's just how it goes. Everyone, you know, you start a show, you do a mic for a little bit, you know, like the bartender's like, oh, like, we're not selling anything, we don't want to do this mic anymore, and then like mics die, mics pop up. How long have you guys been doing the mic at Teddy's?
We just started like the beginning of September, so
I
guess
relatively
new.
Just
1 month.
Nice. Teddy's, is that across from Comedy Bar, or is it like further down?
It's it's not directly across, like it's a little bit east of Comedy Bar, but like on that same block.
Oh, it's on the same block. Is it next door to another bar?
It is.
It is, yeah.
And I'm like the least observant person.
Because I heard someone talking about it the other day. Is it like a pub, or is it like a food venue?
It's a bar, but they have food too.
Okay, sure.
It's actually really cool. Like, okay, so Burhan and Marwan and me were like at back room one night, and then we were walking to Killbox, and we just come across this bar, and it's warm, so like there's the big window at the front is open, and we see like this giant teddy bear, and then we see like in the background there's a stage with a microphone and like this like outline of a teddy bear on the back of the stage, so it's like behind the mic, and it's lit up, and we're like, this is such a cool looking venue, like the vibe here is so cool. And then like the owner walked over to us, and we were like, can we host a mic here? And he's like, sure.
Nice. That's not bad. Yeah, like, so you mentioned that last week or a couple weeks ago you had some people walking. Like, do you find when you go there, there's like an already existing customer base, or is it like pretty sparse when the mic's not on?
There are customers there, but what we were finding was like the front room, the sound was good for music, but it wasn't good for comedy. So we ended up moving. There's like a back patio, and we're there for now, and then there's like another small room kind of in the back that we're going to use when it gets cold. So yeah, people walking by aren't going to have as much of a sense that we're in there.
I was going to say, like, can they see you from outside? But I guess not if you're out back. And then
no,
the other room you guys are going to move to, is that like on the main floor, or is it like down in the basement?
It's the main floor, but it's not, you can't see it from the front. So
I found like that's usually a good draw. Just like, you know, like people seeing someone on a mic walking by, there was like, oh, like what's going on in there? You know, like,
Yeah.
let me pop in and see.
There is like a teddy bear costume though, so someone could put that on and try to go
Nice.
into the street.
I mean, that is sure to bring people in. You can't miss with the teddy bear costume. You can't miss. That's awesome. Does someone still do a mic at another bar? I know Mark Hallworth used to do one there a while ago. But I don't know. I don't
So
know if
the
that's
other
still-
Sunday mics, Hallworth had gatherings, which was like Young and St. Clair, but I think he lost the venue. And so the other Sunday mics are Killbox and Ace of Spades, which works out for us because we're all near each other.
Yeah,
So
I
it
was
kind of
gonna say.
encourages people to like double up.
Ace of Spades is down on Harvard, I think, right? Like Abby runs
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
I've still never been to it, but I've
It's
heard.
just like a little bit south of where we are, but it's at the same.
Okay, nice. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, Sunday and Monday mics they're always tough to run, but they're like the one night when a lot of bars are like, hey, like, you know, no one's really in here a lot, so if you want to set up a mic and do your show, yeah. But it's also tough because, like, you know, like people don't really frequent spots on Sundays and Mondays. I find Thursday's a good mic night,
Oh yeah.
right? Like I'd say Thursday's the best mic night, I'd say. And then like obviously Wednesdays and Fridays, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But Fridays it's really just a lab because a lot of venues are like no, we don't want to have an open mic on
Yeah,
a Friday
they've got a
night.
real show.
Yeah,
Because the Friday one at the lab is like after
after yeah,
a
like
show.
after the book show. So and it's a little later in the evening. Mm-hmm. They used to run a Saturday mic for a little bit, but I don't think they're doing that anymore.
I don't think there's been any Saturday mics
No?
since I started. Maybe like Casting Couch was on Saturday at one point.
Casting Couch was on Saturday at one point. Is that still happening? Is that
I
still a
don't
thing?
know. I want to go to it if it is.
It was at Killbox. I know it came back a little bit, and it was at Killbox, but I haven't heard any rumblings about Casting Couch in a while, probably like 3-4 months.
It's a mystery.
Yeah. Did you ever go to it, like when it was running?
No,
No?
I haven't gone yet.
It was
Did you like it?
I went once. It was interesting. It was a good time. Like it really kind of depended on who was on the couch and kind of who went up, but it was a really cool concept.
Because the whole format is like you're trying to talk and they're interrupting you. Is that?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like Kill Tony, where they're just kind of like making conversation with you like while you're getting your jokes out. The one I went to was like pretty chaotic. I feel like the comic barely got any words in. The people on the couch were just kind of roasting him.
Did you have
I
fun
can't
watching
remember.
it?
I did have fun watching it. Yeah.
We should find out if it's happening and then go watch it together.
It's I don't think it is, but I don't even know like where, like who would be promoting it. You know,
Who was running it before?
I think Rob May was for the longest time, and then I feel like when Killbox first opened, it was like, hey, Casting Couch is back. But I heard the
Yeah.
first few shows at Killbox
If
didn't do
he
very
runs
well.
Killbox, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like he would have Casting Couch again.
Yeah. I think it might be on tour right now, actually, if I recall
Oh
correctly.
shit!
Because I know
Because I haven't seen Rob, so
I haven't seen Rob in a while. But he's around, I think. Or maybe he's on tour right now. That's why we haven't seen him in a while. I also haven't been to Comedy Bar in like...
have you been on tour?
Yeah, we just got back. We just got back from Ottawa. This weekend, I'm going out east again with the Morning Wood Boys. We're doing Belleville on Friday tomorrow, and then Ottawa on Saturday.
The Morning Wood comedy
Morning
tour.
Wood comedy tour. Yeah,
I love it.
just the boys. Yeah, it's fun. They've been doing it since like December.
And it's always the same guys, or pretty
I
much.
think they switch it up sometimes. I know this weekend it's me, Jay Rainville, Sam Tetos, Aiden Long, and Alex DeWitt.
Okay, yeah,
But I
that
know
seems
sometimes they'll bring some people in or like bring a special guest. So it's like I'm not actually on the tour. I'm just going to host for the 2 shows this weekend. So.
Has there been any drama?
Not really. It's been smooth sailing for the most part, I think. But I haven't been on at all the venues.
Who of those guys handles their alcohol the worst?
The worst? Oof. I would say, excluding myself.
Is it you?
I would say probably, like, maybe not the worst, but I definitely drink the most, I'd say.
Yeah, but I've seen you drunk. You're fun.
Yeah. You mean like not a good drunk?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd say
or
like they're
just
all, like,
getting into
pretty,
trouble.
No, I'd say like they're all like pretty calm guys when it comes to like, like handling their alcohol, I'd say.
Does DeWitt try to get you guys to go to a strip club?
No, DeWitt's not really a strip club person.
He has a whole bit about having an addiction to strip clubs.
I mean, like, I haven't seen it. I think the only time I've been to a strip club with comics is when we were in Ottawa a few months ago. We went to Bearfax in Ottawa. That was an interesting time.
Bearfax.
Bearfax, yeah. Oh. It's in the Byward Market. Have you been up to Ottawa?
No.
Never?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been up like
no.
a couple. Sorry, that's confusing. I haven't been up there since I started doing comedy.
Okay. It's when was the last time you were up there? Like how many years ago would you say? Because it's changed quite a bit.
I think it was like on a Canada Day before COVID.
Oh, okay. Wow, that was a long time ago. Like 2018, 2019?
Yeah.
Jeez, crazy to think that was 6 years ago. That seems wild to say that 2018 was 6 years ago. It's changed a lot. Like when you went up there, did they have the did they have like the subway, like the light rail thing that they have there now? Do you remember?
I did not hear about it.
No, yeah, because.
But we weren't going far either.
No, were you guys staying downtown? Like were you
in
the market? Yeah.
Like
yeah,
we stayed
I guess if
downtown
you're not using
just
it,
to.
You wouldn't really notice it.
The Roots were playing in the park, and then Questlove did like a DJ set, and it was like me and my girlfriends had seen the Roots like a few times back when we were like early 20s.
Yeah.
So then it was like, let's do it again. Let's bring this back.
That sounds like an awesome. Was that at Blues Fest, or was it just like a one-off concert? Could have
been Blues. I thought it was Canada Day.
Oh, true. Yeah, you did say Canada Day. I don't think Blues Fest
when
happens
we go
Canada
listen
Day
to hip hop.
Yeah, I'm not sure actually. I'm not sure when Blues Fest happens. I don't think it's Canada Day weekend though, but it is on a long weekend, so it might be.
Maybe I got it confused.
Yeah, like it's definitely in the summer. Was it at like? Do you remember if it was at Lansdowne Park?
I don't know what anything's called.
Fair.
No, but I want to go back to the Morningwood tour.
Yeah.
So you were, or wait, was the Halifax strip club part of the tour? This was just a time you were at a strip club.
This was an Ottawa strip club. I think that was when I can't remember what tour we were on. I remember I was with some of my high school buddies and a couple of comics from Ottawa. I'm pretty sure G was there as well. I think it was the time that we went up. We've been to Ottawa like 4 times this year already, and I'm back there this weekend. And then I have a corporate event there later this month. A lot of Ottawa for me this year, more Ottawa than I'd like, to be honest. But yeah, it was. I'm trying to think if I've ever been to a strip club in another comedy city. I almost went to a strip club in Toronto with a bunch of comics, and then cooler heads prevailed. We're like, what are we doing, boys? It's like, it's 11 o'clock. Let's go somewhere normal. Okay, why are we going to the strip club? Yeah, but the Morningwood tour, it's tame for the most part. I've only been out with them, I think, 2 or 3 times. We went to what town was that?
Like, is Aiden just always doing that tour?
Yeah,
like
that's kind
he's
of
on.
They just keep adding dates. I know their first leg was like really, really successful. They sold out a lot of shows.
Nice.
I think this weekend we're struggling a little bit in Ottawa, but Belleville's kind of double digits right now. I think we're at like 15. So we're gonna try to bark some people. It's also like the time of the year. I feel like a couple of shows during the summer had to get canceled, but it's the summer. People don't want to go to a basement at 7 o'clock or sit down at 7 o'clock. The sun's out till 9 o'clock. But
it surprised me when I got into comedy to find out that like comedy is slow in the summer.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, a
people
lot of
who own
vacations.
who own patio bars should book comedians for their
More,
patios.
yeah. That's actually a really good call. Yeah, I don't think I've ever. Ali Banks used to run a show at. Oh my God, this place in Kensington. I can't think of what it's called now. Like, did you ever go? Actually, I don't think you would have been doing comedy. This would have been like during the pandemic, maybe. No, it would have been, I guess, after the pandemic, but probably 2022, maybe 2021. But it was on a patio, and it was actually pretty cool because people would be walking by and they just kind of stop, hang out for a few minutes, listen to a couple jokes.
That's fun. I love Kensington.
Jam Easy used to run a show at Free Play on College. That was also a patio show. That was another really fun one.
There's also, do you ever do the weed patio? Puff Mama runs it. It's
Queen East?
It's definitely East. I forget what street it was on.
Queen. I think it's on Queen East. I've never done it, but I have heard of it. The only time I've ever done comedy like on Queen East, there used to be a place called Underground. I don't know if you heard of it. It was at like just east of Broadview on Queen. But it was a fun little spot. Like you'd go to the back room and like everyone was just like smoking weed and stuff. I remember I went there to watch a show like when I just kind of started doing comedy, and I was just kind of like hanging around different comedy clubs. And I don't really smoke a lot of weed, and I went in there high, and I've never had more anxiety while trying to laugh while also thinking laughing is weird because I was so high. I was like, oh my God, should I be laughing at this? It was honestly like the most anxiety I've ever got.
Did you get laughs?
Oh, I wasn't performing. I was just
you were just there.
I was just watching. A buddy of mine was like, oh, you do comedy? Like we should go check out a comedy show. So we went to check out the show, and he smokes a lot of weed, and like I lie that I smoke weed around people that smoke weed. I'm like, yeah, I'll take a hit, but really I shouldn't.
And then you just got too high.
Way too high. Like I was so high that I was at a comedy show and I was nervous about laughing. That's too high.
Do you like stoner crowds to perform to?
No, not really. I find they're either like too slow or too fast. You know, like they're either like not keeping up with the joke, or they're still laughing at a joke from like 2-3 sets ago, and you're like, wait, like I've said like 4 jokes since then, and they just like, I don't know, like they get into laughing fits that can be a little bit disruptive to your flow. They're good for crowd work, I guess, right? Like if you don't want to, like if you want to throw away sentence, you're like, I'm just going to talk to these stoners, and like they laugh at every question. Like, yeah, man, he's talking to you, like, stuff like that. They're fun though. I can't think of the last time I had a stoner crowd at a show. We went to, I think it was Belleville. We went to Belleville, and there was this massive table of like 10, like just like small town Belleville kind of kids, just all super high, wearing like monster sweaters and stuff like that. And they were annoying the whole time, and that's kind of what I think about when I think about it.
Did you make fun of them?
No, the host kind of engaged them a little bit, and as soon as I saw, like, they were one of those crowds where you ask them one question and suddenly they think they're a part of the show.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so as soon as I saw the host do that, I was like, I'm gonna steer away from you guys. But even then, like, what happened was, like, I remember saying a joke, and like, you know, the room laughed, and then this guy taps his buddy and says my joke again, and then they start laughing at it again, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Stealing your punchline.
Yeah, right. Like, but they were fun for the most part, but it was just annoying to have to navigate through the whole time.
Yeah,
them being distracting, I'd say, is the perfect
because
word
a
for
little bit of audience interaction can make it feel like it's a group of friends and it's really fun, but it's like very delicate, right?
It is. I find the more intimate the venue, the more kind of, you know, acceptable, I guess it would be to kind of engage with the crowd a little bit more. But like sometimes it depends like what kind of crowd band. But like we've had like I remember there was a show at the Lab, and this guy was outside. We were barking people from outside, and barking people can be risky business because sometimes people are just like, yeah, sure, show, why not? and this guy comes in, and he was like kind of heckling the whole time. I remember G barked him in, and then G had to walk him out. he kept like heckling Amanda, like the whole show.
Amanda,
Casudio.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and and she's like pretty sure our crowd worked too. So it's just like turned into an argument. At some point, he was like that wasn't funny, and she's like whatever, and then they just kind of went back and forth with each other, and then G just taps on the show. Was like, you gotta go. Oh, that was kind of funny because he brought him in. He was like, hey guys, I found someone, and the guy ruined the show. He's like, hey, you gotta go, bro.
I like that she got aggressive with him.
Yeah, she did. She held her own, which is always good to see, because like it's the worst when like a heckler kind of like gets the upper hand on a comic.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah. I feel like most hecklers are like, they're not like trying to be a dick, but they're just like they're just too
dicks.
drunk and trying to have fun.
There was this guy we had at Tonight Bar probably like 3 weeks ago. This like Russian act, like just thick Russian. I said, hey bro, like just sounded super Russian and super drunk, which makes Russian sound so aggressive. And every comic that went up, anytime you said anything, he just had something to say. Like no matter what you said, hey guys, how you doing? He said, me, I'm good. It's like, bro, like I wasn't talking directly. I'm just asking the group how everyone's doing. I don't think we kicked them out, which was surprising, because every comic that came up would just like talk to him, because the crowd was getting a laugh out of his antics, right? So comics would come up and they'd be like, oh, my button fell off. They'd be like, hey, like let's talk to this guy so we can kind of get the crowd going, because if you tried to do your jokes, he would just interrupt you.
Brutal.
Yeah.
I remember like before I ever did the Yuck Yucks Pro-Am show, I went to just watch it one time, and there was this woman sitting like front center who would laugh at every joke, but she'd laugh on the setup. And it was the weirdest thing, like, because it would fuck up like your joke. So when your punchline came, I don't know, she was just ruining everyone's set. And the best part of the show was like when the host would come out, it was like Brian Hatt. He would just make fun of her.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I couldn't. That was the first time I was just like this, and it's ever since then, like nothing in comedy has been like exactly what I thought it would be.
Yeah. How long have you been doing comedy now?
A year and a half.
Okay, nice. What's your takeaway from the scene?
I love it. Yeah? There's so many weird people in it. It's like, of any group of people I've ever belonged to, like this is the weirdest one.
Yeah, it's definitely a melting pot, that's for sure. And it's growing, it seems like. Like now there's the Danforth location. A lot of people doing shows at SoCap. Yeah, it's like there's a lot of comics in the city. A lot more than I thought they were. Like I'm always kind of surprised when I go to a show and I meet someone I've never met before. They're like, oh, I've been in the scene. I'm like, wow, we just haven't crossed paths in all these years.
Yeah, it's weird too. Like I know people from London who will be like, oh, my nephew does comedy, but then I've been waiting to run into people for a year and a half who I haven't run into yet. Yeah. So, but I can find them on Instagram. Like they're still doing comedy. No, I'm just not running into people.
Are they like getting booked on shows and yeah?
It's just like, I think it's just that
not on your circuit kind of thing, which kind of happens. Like there's a lot of comics in the city that I just don't see, right? Like they just don't, right? Like we just don't run in the same circles.
Yeah.
Which is another thing in comedy. Like there's a lot of different pockets within.
Yeah, like if you're in the East End, you're gonna do your mics in the East End, like at least your open mics.
I never go to the East End.
I think I used to make it out there just a couple times to do Sidekick.
Where's Sidekick?
It's closed now, but it was Queen East.
Okay.
And Janice Israeloff ran the mic, but it was a comic book store.
Oh,
and it was
I feel like I did hear
cool
about it.
Looking inside, so it was a good vibe. It almost had like a coffee shop vibe, but with comic books.
Nice. Okay. I recently did Groove Bar. I feel like that's the only really East show that I know of right now.
I've never done Groove Bar.
It's an interesting venue. You get to compete with whatever sports game is on that night. So
Oh,
if
shit.
you're really good, you can get them away from the Leafs. It's better in the summer. Terrible, obviously, in like April, May when there's playoff games, and you're just like, why are we even here?
Yeah. I've been at Salto when there was a playoff game going on. I don't
They keep
know.
their TVs on?
Yeah, they had like local people who came there to watch the game. So they're just like, we can't turn the game off.
Yeah, fair.
So we were on one side of the restaurant and everyone who wasn't a comic was on the other side watching
I
the
don't
game.
think I've ever been to Salto. Where's that?
It's on DuPont and Ossington.
DuPont and Ossington.
No,
thinking of
is that
Point 8.
Christie?
I'm thinking of Coin 8.
It's not as far west, but it's a bit farther north.
Was it close to oh my god, where's that venue that Danny used to run that show at? Up on
It's the same street, DuPont, but you'd have to go like very far west from there.
further west?
Yeah.
Interesting. What was that name of that venue?
Salto.
No, the other one.
Oh, that was Poorhouse.
Poorhouse, that's it.
Danny is an eccentric comedian. I'm just telling my audience in case they don't know, who used to run a regular mic and an ongoing comedy contest.
Yeah, the contest.
So we were all at Poorhouse a lot trying to get on Danny's contest. But like I walked past there and it's now this place called like Stella's Pizza.
I saw that.
And it freaked me out. I felt like the whole thing had been a fever dream.
Those mics were fun at times.
Yeah, it would be like
few of them.
60 people
Yeah,
would
it was
show
packed,
up.
Yeah. It was just so far for me. It was a mission.
You had to
get
come
out
down
there.
from Parkdale on a Monday.
Yeah, on a Monday too. And sign up was at like 7 or something.
It was early. I might
Yeah.
have been 6.
Yeah, like sign up's at like 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like, I had to leave my house at 5 o'clock to go to an open mic.
Maybe
No way.
it was 7. I don't. Yeah, it was. It
That's
was very
early.
early.
That's too early if you ask me. Way too early. But it was like it was probably the like the 1 or 2 times I went. It was a good room. I feel like people were attentive. I know the contests were kind of a big deal. Everyone wanted on that.
Yeah.
The prizes were like what, like $100 or something? I can't remember.
I think you got $50 if you won like your first night, and then I think if you won the big thing, it was a bigger prize, like
Nice.
500 or 1,000.
Nice, yeah. I was gonna say like it might have even been 1,000. I remember he was putting a lot of work and like time into that.
Should we start a contest?
Where?
I don't know. I just think like the idea of a contest is
contests
funny.
bring people out. I remember at Tonight Bar when I first started comedy. Ali Banks used to run like the SmackDown contest where like I can't remember the format. Like I think it was like it wasn't like a roast. It was just like a best set kind of thing, and then the audience would judge. But those were fun, and those would pack out.
Can we do a best set, but it's also like you and me are on a couch together and it's called We're Judging You. And it's just like
Just
we
straight
sit
up.
like side by side and they come on stage and we're like, hello, we're judging you. And then they do
We're
their
facing
set and then we judge them and tell
I
them
like
what we
it.
thought
Yeah,
of
I
it.
like it. I'm never really like comfortable giving people feedback.
I'm not either.
It would be the most mildly judged. Hey man, you were great. No notes.
It's
notes
just like
over
a
here.
few compliments. Like, I
You're
loved
good.
your
We'd love to have you
opening.
back. Yeah. And then we go to the back and just trash them when we're comfortable. Never bring that person back. I think I know Ali Banks used to run a lot of contests. I remember Christmas a few years back. She ran a contest that was sponsored by Henderson actually. Like I remember I won it and it was like a $50 prize and like a 6-pack or something. But it was close to Christmas. I remember because I ended up wearing like one of those Christmas wreath things on my neck. I was gonna say
Nice.
like a lei, like a lei, but I'm pretty sure that's the Hawaiian one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I distinctly remember wearing something very festive.
Nice.
It was fun.
Are you a Christmas person?
Not really. No, not at all. No. It just like comes and goes, really. Like, it's just another day to me.
Yeah.
I'm not really like a holidays person in general, actually.
No.
No. I can't think of one that I'm like, oh my God, it's coming again. I can't wait.
Do you ever get dressed up for Halloween?
I used to. But my costumes, I always go as some variation of a cop, because the only uniform I have at home is a badge and a gun. So one year I put on a do-rag and I went as Denzel Washington Training Day.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
That was actually a really cool one. You know, sometimes I'll just put on a suit, put on the badge. What do you? Just very lazy, very lazy. I don't think I've ever gone like above and beyond in a costume. I don't think so. Trying to think. At Tonight Bar this year, Parkdale Comedy Falls, I think on the 30th. So we're gonna do like a costume themed event.
Oh, nice.
G and I were talking as going as Keenan and Kel from Good Burgers.
I don't know what that is.
Good Burgers? You know Good Burgers? Is it?
No.
Is it called Good Burgers? I think it's called Good Burgers. That show from like the 90s. I think it was apparently I don't know Good Burgers either. Now I'm not even sure if that's the right name. But
Are you making this up?
I might be. No, it's a thing. I'm just not sure if it's called Good Burgers. I'm pretty sure it's called Good Burgers. I'm gonna look it up because now it's gonna drive me crazy. It's Good Burgers. Like you'll recognize the outfit if you see it. Let's see.
Is it a cartoon?
No. Good Burgers. Yeah, it is Good Burger. This.
I don't know that.
You never what? Really?
Is it really good?
I've never seen it. I've just heard about it. I've never seen it.
It was on in the 90s, but no one was watching it.
I feel like some people watched it. I know I have a few friends. It's from 97. Yeah, so it was a movie.
Oh, it's a movie.
Yeah, starring Cal Mitchell and Kenan Thompson.
I
Dan
thought
Schneider
it was
was
a show.
involved. No, it was a movie.
Okay.
They might have done a show on Nickelodeon.
Still, I should have known it. I watched.
Yeah.
I was always at Jumbo Video in the 90s.
It was kind of and it's also kind of like a cult classic in a way. Like it's one of those 90s movies that like most people have seen.
Like She's All That.
I haven't seen She's All That. Yeah.
What's your favorite 90s movie?
Favorite 90s movie? That is a really good question. For some reason, Mrs. Doubtfire popped into my head.
Oh my God.
I think that's just because I referenced it the other day in someone's kitchen when I was able to find everything that she does in the movie. Or he does in the movie. I don't know. What do you? That's a good question. Favorite 90s movie? I would have to say, I don't know.
There's too many.
There's two. I'm trying to think of like maybe Hook, Captain Hook. I'm a big fan of that one.
How old were you in the 90s?
I was like, I went back and watched. I would have been like maybe 4. I was born in 91, so a lot of the 90s was me under 10. Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
What's your
favorite early 2000s movie? Yeah, no. I was like 4 when a lot of those movies came out. Early 2000s movie. Okay, now we're in my era. I would have to say I love. Big fan of Gangs in New York.
Yeah.
Really love. I just anything Scorsese. I'm just like, let's go. Big fan of Gangs in New York. I can't remember when The Departed dropped, but it's a really good.
My
run.
favorite thing about Gangs of New York
yeah.
is just who's the actor? Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh fuck!
Just
Love
like
Daniel
the
Day-Lewis.
fact that he was like staying in character while they were making that brings
Yeah.
me joy.
Yeah, he was like what do you call that? Like a method actor?
Yeah.
Yeah, like he did that for Lincoln as well. He's so good.
I just love the concept of method acting.
Yeah, it's just like just at home.
Or like Austin Butler said that like playing Elvis caused him to get an accent. Like he can't get fully out of the character now.
Oh man.
And Will Smith said that he was method acting on 6 Degrees of Separation, which caused him to fall in love with Stockard Channing, even though he was married.
Oh wow.
So I feel like we could use method acting.
Yeah. I mean,
To just take on like new accents.
Yeah, it's a good way to it's a good way to try out new characters. Just like, hey, do I want to be someone else for a little bit? Let me try this method acting thing out. But for Daniel Day-Lewis, it's funny because he always plays like really extreme characters. Like I think of him filming Lincoln and just acting like Abraham Lincoln for like months at a time.
That would be so weird.
That would be so weird. He retired. He's probably one of my favorite actors, but I'd have to say the top spot goes to either Al Pacino, Leonardo DiCaprio, or Denzel Washington. I feel like their filmographies have the most hits for me.
Yeah, those are Denzel Washington, DiCaprio, and Pacino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you rank those three if you had to put them in order?
So I guess for me, with DiCaprio, I know like part of why I like him is because I had a crush on him. So he was in like some of his 90s stuff were like seminal. Like Titanic.
Yeah, of course.
And Romeo and Juliet.
Never saw that. Claire Danes is in that, right?
Yes.
I fucking love Claire Danes. She's in Homeland, and that's probably one of my favorite shows.
She's amazing.
She's unbelievable in the show Homeland. I haven't really seen her in anything else. I think she was in Terminator 3, but it's the worst Terminator.
She's something great. New, but it's weird. It's like a show where people are looking for her. It's called, I forget. It has Jesse Eisenberg, and they're a married couple, but she's like taken off mysteriously. Mm-hmm. And the show has like some guy's name in it. It's like
Jesse Eisenberg's also really good.
He's very talented.
Yeah. He plays like the same person a lot, but it's like who you'd want to see in that role in that movie or TV show. Like I find he's so he's not really typecasted. He's just kind of like a really good character for a lot of different movies. Yeah,
it's interesting because if you think about like him doing The Social Network and how likable he made that character, but it's like Zuckerberg is not a likable person, and he also like just not even to pick on him, but like he doesn't have a lot of charisma or like magnetism, and it's weird to bring like magnetism to like a nerdy character, but like while keeping him nerdy. Like he just was more interesting, and he was still an asshole, but you were sort of rooting for him. Yeah,
like he was very passive aggressive from what I recall about him in that movie. Condescending in a way, but again, like he crushed that role. Yeah. Mark Zuckerberg's nothing like that. I don't know. Whenever I see Mark Zuckerberg, he's very like bland. Yeah. And forgettable. But Jesse Eisenberg kind of definitely gave him life in that role.
If you could, what do you think would be a role that like if you were an actor, do you think you'd always play the same character, or is there like what do you think you could shine in?
I feel like my Halloween costume as a cop is that's where you'd find me.
Yeah.
I love espionage movies. That's kind of like my favorite thing. Like give me a director of defense and a CIA guy and the White House. That's my shit. Like,
yeah.
Anything with like, get the president on the line. I'm like, fucking go. That's my shit. So I feel like I definitely want to play like an FBI agent or like I don't know, like a senator, something, I mean, like something like that, where I'm like throwing my weight around, kind of like, give me this, give me that. Like that's like really only the kind of roles I could see myself really wanting to play, like something in espionage.
There's a lot out. I feel like there's a lot out there in that genre.
Or maybe even like The Spy, But I feel like I'd always want to be the good guy. Like on the right side of the law. I'm not trying to run around the town. I'm trying to be the one tracking him. Where's this son of a bitch?
How do you think, like, why do some people always play a villain and other people always play a good guy?
Some people just seem villainous. Some people just kind of have that like villain aura about them. I'm trying to think of who's like a consistent, like a lot of I'm trying to think of, it's usually a lot of like foreign actors who you know what I mean, like they kind of have like that Russian accent or Eastern European, and they're just like hey buddy, and then they're like, that's a bad guy. Trying to think of who's like a consistent villain though.
Denzel kind of does.
Denzel's always a good guy. Like, yeah, I can't think of any time he's a villain in Training Day. Yeah, that's probably my favorite movie. But he's also like,
when he's a good guy, he's still
a little bit rough around the edges.
Yeah.
He's
he's not.
I mean, leads are rarely villains, right? Like
yeah.
A lot of, right? Like you'll rarely find a movie where the lead actor is playing a bad guy because the bad guy dies at the end.
I like that Tom Cruise will do really unlikable characters.
Tom Cruise has a lot of
because
range.
He's so like known for being a hero that when he does like someone shitty, it's so fun. Mm-hmm. Like just to know that he'll do that.
I'm trying to think of where, like him in Tropic Thunder is probably one of my favorite.
Yeah,
like every now and
his
then
commitment to that was insane. Like he gave it his all, and that's the kind of thing like you would think just. Knowing him from like Top Gun, you'd be like, oh, the kind of guy who does that wouldn't turn around and be that.
Like, he just like puts on a fat suit. He's so funny in that. Why don't you step back and literally fuck your own face? Gets off the phone and he's like, find out who that was. Tropic Thunder is probably like one of my favorite movies to rewatch. It's so good.
Did you see him in Magnolia?
No, I didn't.
He plays like he's like a celebrity personality that appeals to men, but he's really sexist, and he's like a piece of shit in it. But he really, really commits to it, and you really buy him as that guy.
Magnolia, what's that about? I don't even think I've heard of that.
It's this kind of it's a 90s movie.
Okay,
and
sure.
It's like there's all these different stories happening and they seem sort of like unconnected, and then I think there's like an event that connects all these different people together.
Interesting.
It's Paul Thomas Anderson.
Okay. Paul Thomas Anderson. I don't know who that is. I was like, okay, but thought about it. What's he in?
He's the director.
Oh, he's a director. Okay.
What
I'm
did
not big
he
on
do?
director names.
No.
Unless they're like it's like James Cameron, Martin Scorsese, Denis Villeneuve, if I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
I really
did you love
Dune?
Dune?
I love Dune. I just finished reading the book.
I read the book too because of the movies.
It's so good.
And like I had heard about it for decades and
Did you
was
read Messiah,
never going to read it. I just read the first one.
The first one. I'm going to read Messiah because the book kind of ends on a cliffhanger, right? As does the movie. I want to read all the ones written by Frank. I don't want to read his son stuff. Get your own story, bro. Like, he just like kept writing. There's like 30 Dune books. He's like, Dune Messiah's children's children. It's like, bro, relax.
There's this author called V.C. Andrews. She's sort of like she's something like all girls read when they're just old enough to read an adult novel.
Yeah.
And she's kind of like dark. There's a lot of like romance and like but like weird goth shit happening.
Yeah.
And she died, and then her family just hired a guy to keep writing as her, and then she's put out like 50 more books.
Wait, but like,
so the novel will say V.C. Andrews.
Not even that's so weird. So they're basically just using her name for branding.
Yeah, but he does like kind of recreate, like he writes the way she would write.
Mm-hmm. George Martin has an understudy. Not that we're ever going to get Winds of Winter. I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones, but
yes, no, I'm also obsessed with Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
and I read
and you're
all the
waiting
books.
for Winds of Winter, and you thought it was going to come in 2020, and then 2021, and now 2025.
This is the thing, though. Like, I watched. It was during COVID that I watched the show for a second time.
Oh, second
and then
time, yeah.
and then I started reading the books.
Oh shit! You started late.
Yeah.
I read the books before the movies came out.
Oh my god.
Yeah, before the show came out,
So you've been waiting for a long.
like literally. I read the first Game of Thrones book in like 2014 or something.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like a long.
You're
time
like
ago.
the original Game of Thrones
I'm
fan.
OGs. I'm one of those people that correct you when you say stuff is wrong. Yeah, I know.
Okay,
I read
what's
the one
your
a while ago.
favorite, like, of all the worlds within Game of Thrones? Like,
Good question. I would have to say probably Westeros. Like as boring as it sounds, I love the
it's the Senate,
I love the
right?
throne dynamic. Yeah, right. Like I love the throne dynamic. The Dothraki are pretty interesting, but it's a little bit barbaric for me.
Yeah.
Marine was a cool place.
Oh, for real.
Marine was really awesome, and then Pentos was also really cool. Who do you think had the best story arc? There's only one answer.
Arya.
Yeah, by far. It's like there's only one answer to that.
Because
Arya.
when I watched the show, I was obsessed with Daenerys. That was the first thing I liked in the first season, and then I think over time I got really, especially like reading the books, I really liked seeing Arya on the King's Road, and then like when she does her training later, like yeah, she
crushes that. She's so good.
it's amazing.
I'd say my second favorite would be Tyrion.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but yeah, Tyrion's got an interesting story arc, and then Sansa low key. She goes from this like doting girl to fucking,
Yeah,
the
there's
shit.
some stuff in the beginning where you're just like, oh my god, she's so insufferable. But when you kind of see like where she gets later, it's like, yeah, she's very impressive.
I mean, like, when you look at the Game of Thrones and you're like, who won the Game of Thrones? The Starks did.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, which is good. I don't like how they did my boy Jon at the end.
Yeah.
The books are so like in the books, like you read like Dance with Dragons.
Yeah.
So in the books, like Aegon is alive, right?
Yeah.
And if you remember that, because the last scene, like one of the last scenes in the book, is Aegon getting to Dragonstone, and so like I find it so interesting that in the show they made Jon Aegon. So I'm like I wonder if they're still gonna, because then that would mean that there's 3 Targaryens, not just Jon and Daenerys, right?
Aegon was part of like the older generation, right?
No, Aegon is Dany's. So in the books, Aegon, like, what's his name? Tywin thinks he kills all the Targaryens, but Dany, her brother, right, and another brother all survive.
Why don't I remember this?
I don't know.
So what happened to Aegon?
So he was. So in the books, they call him the young prince. I think he's like 10 or 11 or something, very young. And he's kind of being smuggled around by the knights. Like, they don't really talk a lot about him, but he's like, he gets to Westeros before Dany does. So that's why I want the books to come, because that whole story arc, they just don't even.
And does he have a dragon?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have a dragon. He has an advisor, and yeah, I think he has like 2 traveling companions. It's very subtle, but I distinctly remember that he was present in the books, and then like, yeah, it's
is he? Yeah, he's the prince in hiding, and they have him.
Yes, exactly.
Like
the prince
he's
in hiding.
in Easteros when we start seeing him, and then he makes his way over. Yeah.
Yeah, so they just kind of like buried that plot line, but that's what I mean. Like, the books are so, that variation of the story is so different. Everything else, like the first series, I mean the first season of Game of Thrones and the first book are almost like every 100 pages is an episode. Like,
yeah,
it is so accurate. I think season 3 is when they kind of change a little bit, and then by season 4 and 5, it's a completely different story almost.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. Like, now that I've seen the show, and I can't remember where the book stopped the story. Like, that's kind of...
Yeah.
Right?
I kind of
Like,
can't remember.
I can't remember, like does Tyrion meet Dany in the books? I can't remember.
Yeah. I think though it wasn't far. Like he did get to over there.
He did?
Yeah. But I don't think they've gone.
Like, he's not her.
They haven't gone all the way through that plot line yet.
Also, spoilers.
But like,
for
you know
anyone.
the what's that castle thing that tower, magic tower she gets trapped in?
Oh,
I think that happens in the book and he's with her.
honestly, I read the books 10 years ago. Like, it's literally
Remember,
been
like...
that long.
Oh,
Someone stole
like
my copy of Dance with Dragons.
it's when her dragon gets stolen. Remember? She goes into like the weird
Yes.
magic, the house of...
But does that happen in the books as well?
Yeah, like
Yeah, it
I feel
does?
like I
Okay.
remember reading that.
Well, yeah, like, you would have read it in the past 3-4 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I literally read them 10 years ago. I couldn't tell you now. I remember when the books came out. Like, I remember...
How did
'cause,
you get into them?
I was working in a kitchen, actually up the street from here. I used to work at a restaurant called Earth. It was up in Rosedale, just up the street here, and
The
was
restaurant was called Earth?
yeah, Earth Bistro. Yeah, it's definitely not there. It seemed like a casualty of the pandemic. But
Did you guys sell dirt?
no, I think it was a
Ooh.
vegan place. Yeah, I think it was like a vegan place actually, but one of the line cooks was like obsessed. Like, he came in one day and like he was literally like reading it standing up. Like, it was one of those
Oh my
books where he's
God.
just like standing there, like waiting for a shift to start, but just like flipping pages. And I was like, "What is
Yeah.
that?" And he goes, "Oh, bro, you don't even like give this book like 3-4 years. It's gonna be a shit." And then about a year later, I randomly picked up the first book and I was like, I'm gonna read it. And then within like 2 days, I was like, holy shit, this is the craziest story ever. I think I'd still pick Harry Potter over Game of Thrones. That's the raging debate in my mind always.
How old were you when you started reading Potter?
Potter, I would have been. I remember the last book came out when I was in grade 12, and I kind of
Yeah.
So, like, I would have been... I think I started reading them in, like, grade 11, grade 10, maybe. So, like, 14, 15.
See, for me, like, I heard about them when I was 21
Yeah.
because the first movie came out. And I never read the books. I saw some of the movies.
Really?
I wasn't the right demographic
Yeah,
for it.
that's true.
But I feel like if that had come out when I was younger, I would have been into it.
Did you read Lord of the Rings?
No. I had friends who were reading it when I was in high school, and I remember reading like a page and just being like, I don't like this.
I tried
It's
to
very
read it.
detailed.
I love the movies. The movies are unbelievable. But I remember, like, someone gave me a copy of all three in one, and it literally, like, it flipped like the Bible. Like, the pages were so thin, and I'm reading this first page, and I'm like, is he still describing this tree? Like, what is going on here? Like,
Yeah.
So I couldn't do it either. I was like, I know where it's going, and you're taking me 40 hours to get there. I can't do this. But I heard
like
they're really good.
People will get mad at me if I say this, but nobody watches my podcast, so I'll just say it. I don't think Lord of the Rings is sexy.
What? What do you mean by sexy? You don't like it? You don't like Lord of the Rings?
It's not. Yeah, it doesn't.
Wow.
Like,
the greatest trilogy ever? Literally the greatest trilogy ever. I went to see Dune, actually. I saw Dune Part 2 with Yulia and Danton, and I'm sitting there, like, I love the movie. It ended, and I was like, man, I think this might compete with Lord of the Rings. And then I recently watched Lord of the Rings, and I was like, no chance. It's that good, especially when you get the extended version. I think the Return of the King has an extended version copy that's like 4 hours and 20 minutes, and I watched the whole thing and I was like, holy shit. Like, Lord of the Rings is top shelf. It's just so good. What would you say is like your favorite trilogy then?
My favorite trilogy is... Can I give you one where it's the same movie made 3 times?
Sure, but it's not a trilogy. I just want to hear what this movie is now.
Okay, so this book called Dangerous Liaisons was made into Dangerous Liaisons, but also the same year was made into Valmont. And then like a few years later, someone made like it takes place in like, I don't know, the 1800s or 1700s. But then someone made, what's it called? Cruel Intentions, which takes place in like modern day Manhattan with teenagers, but it's still the same story.
This is so confusing. How old is this?
So the first 2 came out in like 91.
Okay.
So it's like, but it's lots of people like Annette Bening is like Catherine in one movie, but then in the other movie it's Glenn Close.
Oh,
like,
I know Glenn Close. Yeah.
Colin Firth and John Malkovich. So you can watch all these like high level Oscar winning actors play the exact same role and sort of like see how it was done. And then you can watch like this like melodramatic sexy teen movie that sort of like emulates the originals.
John Malkovich is like underrated favorite actor of mine. I was watching Jessica Chastain. Have you seen Miss Sloane?
No.
Oh, I watched it. I watched it on Tubi the other day. I'm on Tubi, so I'm just discovering movies now.
See, Jessica Chastain, I haven't found her interesting yet.
Really?
But maybe I haven't seen her in the right thing.
I don't know. So I hadn't seen Interstellar, and so sometimes, like if I've seen a movie already, I'll speed watch it, and like all of my friends make fun of me because like that's a ridiculous way to consume a movie.
Yeah.
But I will choose a storyline. Like I speed watch Game of Thrones in like 4 days, and I only watch certain storylines, so I just like fast forward if I knew because I know the story. So I went to speed watch. I speed watch Interstellar, which I never speed watch a movie I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
But I was just like I was impatient, so I just read the synopsis on
on
Wikipedia and then just fast forwarded through a lot of the scenes. And I actually got to the end, and I like went back because I saw like how good the ending was. And I was like, okay, like I should probably watch this movie. And she's really good in that movie. But I think she's the best I've ever seen her in Miss Sloane. She's brilliant in that.
Miss Sloane about?
So she's a lobbyist. It's a really, really, really good story. So the first line in the movie, like it's one of those movies where like the first line in the movie is repeated at the end of the movie and it like ties everything back together. So she plays a lobbyist who is approached by, so she's a lobbyist who works for this like big firm, and the firm is approached by the gun companies to like help sell guns to women. And in the Senate, yeah, right, they're like, hey, you know, instead of your children getting shot, you're saving your child with a gun. Just like classic, you know, gun bullshit. And so in the Senate, there's this bill being passed to add restrictions to, you know, access to guns, like background checks and stuff like that. And the gun lobbyists approach her company and they're like, hey, like we want you to run this. And she goes, no, you're stupid. And then she leaves the company and joins the Heaton-Harris bill. But then she leaves an operative there to like spy on them. And then in the end, like the whole movie is told from her being at a Senate hearing. So like it like starts with her on a trial, and then it like flashes back to everything that happens to lead up to it. But it has a really big reveal at the end that I was like, oh shit. Like I probably went back and watched the ending on YouTube like 4 times.
I like Senate hearings.
Same, that's what I'm saying. I
would love to play, like if you're playing a senator, I would play the person who's like brought before the senator in the, like the hearing.
I don't know. I got a pretty tough Senate committee. We would nail that down. I just love anything that's got like I love anything where I see the White House in it, or like Capitol Hill. I'm just obsessed with that stuff.
Did you ever watch? Because you're not the right age for it, but The West Wing.
No.
I feel like it's kind of. I don't know if you can go back and watch it now.
Martin Sheen's in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is the kind of show, yeah, right?
The West Wing.
I mean, they've done House of Cards. House of Cards was amazing.
Oh, is that the American President?
You know House of Cards with Kevin Spacey? His last real role before we found out who he really was.
I feel like I just watched like one episode and I don't remember what it was about.
Oh, it's about an ambitious couple who essentially starts, vying for the presidency. I love that kind of stuff. Give me a White House and like a CIA director. Get the director on the phone. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, get the director on the phone. I fiend that shit. Yeah, like a lot of times I'll just go online and be like, best espionage movies. Like, I love Homeland. Homeland kind of kicked it off for me. I don't know if you've seen or heard of Homeland.
Yeah.
Claire Danes in that show, like, it's just unbelievable. But like, the whole like terrorists are coming, get the CIA director, and then 24 would have been like the very beginning for me.
The seed was planted.
And South Park does an episode where they just like have different divisions come in and they're like, who's running the show? I am. Not anymore. You're not. They just keep doing that. And that's essentially what 24 was. Every other episode, someone comes in and like, who's in charge? I'm in charge. Not anymore. You're not. We're taking over. Divisions coming in by orders of the president. I love that kind of stuff, though. Trying to think of my next TV show. I've heard Shogun is just absolutely like it took home like 18 Emmys or something crazy. Yeah. It's I've heard nothing but good things, but I was once hurt by a TV show that only had one season. I got really into it and then they canceled it.
What show?
A lot of people make fun of it. It was a show called The Event. My friend actually got me into it, and I was like, he's like, man, have you checked out the show The Event? I watched the whole season. And then I was like, man, did you finish The Event? And he like blew me off. He's like, no, that show was stupid. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I just watched the whole show. It was like I really liked it. It was about essentially like aliens per se, but people who came from like another galaxy, but they were like semi-humans. They aged way slower. They came here, they crash landed on Earth in like the 30s and have just kind of been integrated in society, but now their planet is dying, and so they're like bringing their planet here, and it ends on a cliffhanger. Oh my
shit.
God. Like, and I was so mad.
Yeah. That's brutal.
It was devastating, but so they canceled it, and I kept like trying, because it's not like a story, it's not like a book or something, so I can't go read how it ends.
Yeah, you just have to like write it yourself.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? So I was really devastated by that. So as a rule, I don't watch a show until it gets renewed, but I'm very confident that 18 Emmys will get you renewed for another season.
I'm gonna check it out. Is it HBO?
I want to say FX. FX, yeah.
Okay.
FX has a couple of bangers under their belt. They did.
They did.
Sons of Anarchy.
Did they also do Breaking Bad?
No, that was AMC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, AMC. Breaking Bad was another kind of like out of nowhere show. I was thinking about it the other day.
Yeah.
HBO has the goods though. Sopranos, The Wire, Game of Thrones. Did you watch House of Dragon?
Yeah. Actually, no, I haven't watched the new season.
Season 2?
I think I actually watched maybe like an episode. So I guess, yeah.
It was drawn out, but they really kind of settle.
I feel
like they set up for a battle season, but they spend the whole season just kind of like teasing it.
Yeah. I still, like, I'm going to get to it eventually, and I'll probably like it. It's just they're not quite doing what they could, I think.
I know. There's, they're coming up with a new one. Like, they're just kind of, I think it's called The Last Night or something.
Yeah, which... Is it different characters?
I think it's based on the Mad King when he was a child, but I'm not. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, I'm not sure. It is completely different characters, but it's still like the same house as Targaryen, Stark and all that. But yeah,
I got a sense. For some reason I thought it would be a lot like Arya on the King's Road, like that kind of more night type.
They were gonna do. But they scrapped it. They were going to do a sequel to Game of Thrones of of just John being on the wall. I think they should do fucking Arya and her adventures. I think that would be the coolest story to tell.
Yeah. I'd
Like,
be
if they're
okay
gonna
if
do,
they
like, a
did like a
spin-off.
new set of characters.
And
I just like,
in the same timeline, or like
Yeah.
a different timeline. Yeah.
or like some other story that maybe it intersects a bit with the bigger story, but it doesn't have to be like continuing.
Yeah. That would be kind of cool. I just love that world in general.
Yeah, his world building is just spectacular.
It is. It is. I like authors like that who, like when I read, like I read someone talk about how like J.R.R. Tolkien, like just like made up a language for like
Yeah.
the whole, you know what I mean? Like George Martin
That's
did the same
nuts.
thing, like the Dothrakis, and then Dune did the same thing with Arrakis and like their whole language. It's really cool when, cause there's people that actually speak that language, which is kind of weird, you know?
Okay. I got to wrap this up, but if you could go to one world
Yeah.
from like a series, which one?
Ooh, not the medieval times. I think I would go to. I think I'd have to do Star Wars, even though like I'm not a Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
It's the most futuristic. There's like cool gadgets and stuff. Actually, no. What am I saying? Hogwarts.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
By far.
Yeah. It's definitely the safest. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to go to Game of Thrones. You'll get
No,
assaulted.
right? Like every other one I think about is just battles on battle. Hogwarts post Voldemort. Top shelf. What about you?
I think I haven't even read Harry Potter, but I think I'd follow you there. Just
Yeah, right.
it is actually, it's Game of Thrones. It's the world I find the most beautiful.
Really?
But yeah, you can't go there.
You
It's
can't
not
go there.
safe.
It's literally like you might as well go to like the 1400s in just this regular world.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing too with time travel, like where if you go back, you're gonna be fucked. And
Yeah,
you're gonna hate every
there's-
second
yeah,
of it.
there's- I would not travel back in time.
Yeah, no.
I wouldn't even travel to the future because like I don't know when shit's gonna fuck up. I'd be like right
Oh.
now safe. You know what I mean? Like you go forward 200 years and it's like, oh, the world ended. Sucks.
On that note, I want to thank you a lot for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Do you
It
have
was-
anything you want to plug?
Yeah, this weekend we are in Belleville. I don't think this will be out by tomorrow, but this weekend we're in Belleville. I guess Parkdale Comedy every Wednesday, 8 p.m. at Tonight Bar, hosted by myself and G. Gathika. It's Gathika. I just said it in my head right now.
Figured it out.
His first name was Gachero. That's why I was like confused. I was like, wait, is it? Yeah. But hosted by myself and G. Gathika. Come and check us out. It's been flames every week, and we don't plan on stopping.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Derek.
Thank you so much for having me, Karen.